Hello, it's Lou Collins. Today I've got a bit of a sneak peek. This is a brand new magazine that's on the market. It just came out on Thursday this week. It's Simply Cards and Papercraft. Now we are looking at issue, let's see, issue 243. It's a lot of issues, and this is one of your favourite craft magazines to date. I love getting it. I'm a subscriber, so I get it every month. Hence I've been able to do this video nice and early for you. So we're looking this month at some beautiful stencils, absolutely stunning stencils, some gorgeous stamps as well. Don't often get stencils in with a magazine, so it's something a little bit different, and this is actually what I'm going to be focusing on today. I won't go through the magazine too much, but as always there's of course absolutely beautiful elements in here, lots of stunning cards for you to follow along with, lots of interviews, there's special offers. I know there's a special offer in here on one of my textures dies as well, excuse the noise while I open this, on one of my textures dies, so I've spotted that. So have a look through, you'll see it soon. There's like 6 cards made with it. And look at the size of these stencils. They are stunning. Now there's some really beautiful projects inside the magazine using the leaf one. We're using both. But I wanted to take a technique that somebody's used, a little bit of a technique anyway, somebody's used using the leaf one, and try it with this one, which is kind of like a seashell, Art Deco type pattern. It could be florals. So yeah, you can really pick and choose what sort of style you want this stencil to be. And I love that they're nice and thin. Now a lot of people want sturdier stencils. I prefer thin ones. They're so much easier for blending ink on and such. So I'm going to prep my card first of all, but what I need to do is first stamp. Now I'm going to be stamping and stenciling, creating a 1-layer card. Now this is often very important if you post your cards. You don't want too many layers lifting up and such. So if you like to create 1 layer and get quite clever with techniques to create that 1-layer card, then hopefully this video will help you out here. I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use this lovely flower here and this butterfly here, I believe. Actually, I will use a word as well. So let's just see. My card is, my card blank that I've chosen here is 6x6. So I'm going to take this stamp here. I'm going to start positioning on my card whereabouts I think I'd like everything. So pop that there, and then the butterfly would be around, just sort of perching on there, and then let's say with thanks, and just peel this off, lovely quality stamps, and just pop the with thanks there. So that's kind of the composition that I'm going to be going for. So I can pop my stamps to the side for now, because the first thing I need to do is pop the magazine to the side as well. It's just stamp these. So I'm going to take each one and stamp them onto a scrap of paper. Now it's important that this is paper and not cardstock, so you want something really quite thin, but something that will absorb the ink and dry nice and quickly for you. So there's one, and these don't need to be, look at that, it's beautiful. Even that first impression is stunning, and I'm going to pop each of the stamps to the side for now. So very rough. This is just a masking technique that we're going to be doing here, making sure that's nice and straight. That'll do. With a stamping platform, of course, you could go over this a couple of times if you wanted, if you had any missed spots, but so far these are stamping beautifully. And let's just do another one up here, anywhere randomly on your paper. There we go. So I've used a black, only because I'm going to be using black later, so it saves me getting more than one ink pad out, but this can be done in any colour. And now what I'm going to do is just cut each one of these out. So I'm going to trim round them with a little bit of a border, not too much, just maybe about 5mm, I suppose, roughly, or I suppose about 1/4 of an inch of a border around each one. And don't worry about being too precise with it either. There's one. And then the same with these two as well. There we go. So I've got my 3 elements cut out with a little bit of a border around them, not cut too neatly. And I'm going to use my repositionable spray glue. The lid always comes off when I do that. I'm just going to give them a very light spritz over and put this back down where we decided earlier. Now it's actually helpful if I'm going to use the plastic that the stamps and the stencils came in, something just to cover your work surface. That's easier. There we go. And I think you should give these a couple of seconds to dry, the glue, before you pop it onto the project. I don't usually do that, I'll admit, but I think you're supposed to. So one more, light spritz. And that was around about there. Try to make that straight if possible. Oh, I might need to lift that. It is repositionable, so you have the option to lift and place. There we go. Okay, so we can start looking at our composition now. Just popping that to the side for a moment, because other thing I like to do to prep my card before I do any inking is to actually take masking tape. This is low-tack masking tape, and it's from the Creative brand. I'm just going to pop it onto my trousers. I've actually got some quite fluffy trousers on today, and this will just help prevent the card from tearing later. Shouldn't have to put it onto your trousers, but I like to do it as a backup, because the last thing you want to do is do that beautiful ink blending or stenciling and then find out later on that all of that's going to tear up with your tape. Now the Creative Craft Products tape doesn't usually tear your paper at all, but like I say, it's just a backup. It's an extra step that takes me just a few seconds, and it ensures that I'm going to get a lovely clean line when I lift up my stencil. There we go, so 4 pieces, and you can still reuse this afterwards if you wish to reuse it for your die cutting, told you die still and such. So nice border all the way around my card there. So I've just covered a little bit. That also helps hold your card down for you. Now I've got my stencil, and that's going to fit really nicely just inside of that gap. So this is a 6-inch card, as you can see, so by adding that gap, I've now got my stencil going edge to edge. So bringing back my plastic and my repositionable spray glue, I'm going to tack this down. So you can get stencil glues and such as well, but the repositionable spray is just absolutely perfect for holding your stencil still while you do your inking. So again, pop this down over the top of everything, like so. So now I've chosen some ink blending colours. I'm going with blues and greens. They're my favourite. If you've watched me before, you'll know I love blues and greens. I've gone for Uncharted Mariner, Salty Ocean and Salvage Patina in the Distress Oxide range. So I'm going to start first of all from the bottom and work my way up. So from the bottom here, make sure everything is stuck down and work lightly in circles. A blending brush is absolutely ideal, or a stencil brush if you've got one. This way you're not going to be getting anything underneath the stencil, and hopefully that glue will hold things down for you anyway. So just popping through all the little gaps there. Because you've got your masking tape, your low-tack tape around the edge of your card, you shouldn't need to protect the surface of your card unless you're a bit like me, you're very messy and you tend to go even wider than that area, but you should be okay. Now, I've got about a third of the card there. I'm just going to bring this up very lightly with the excess that's on my brush up towards the half. Then I'm going to switch to Salty Ocean. This is a lovely bright blue. And go right through the middle here. We're going over the flower, over the butterfly. This is a lovely technique actually if you don't like to have to colour stamped images, because we can leave these black and white. No colouring. You can of course colour them in, but you don't have to colour them in. It just makes it quick and easier. You can see how I've blended beautifully through into the blue there, the darker blue rather, and then I'm going to do a lighter with just what's on my brush up towards the top and finish off with Salvage Patina, which is a green, almost a minty green, really beautiful. Actually reminds me of a particular mint ice cream dessert that I've not had for a very, very long time. And I might go and pick some up for dinner tonight now I've seen this. Does anyone else find that craft items or colours remind them of food? There we go. So we've got this lovely blend through 3 colours. Absolutely gorgeous. I'll leave those there in case you want reminding of the colours later. So now we've got that, we should be able to gently peel away our stencil. We can then peel away our stamped areas. There we go, there's one. There's another. And there's another. And we can take away our masked areas as well, or our low tack tape from around the edge. Now do all of this gently, of course. Don't forget to do it in the order that you place them down, because you don't want to be accidentally trying to lift up more than one layer at a time. Obviously it looks a little bit odd at the moment. So what we're going to do now is come back to our stamps, and we can now re-stamp these again in their gaps. I'm actually going to take a bit of this because I've got a fan on in here and it's making my card move about. So I'm just going to hold the card down with that tape. Apply the black ink again. You can use a stamping platform for this if you prefer. Apply the black ink and just have a look. Do you know what? Let's try not to get my head in. Just looking over, making sure that this goes in that gap that you've created. There we go. Perfect. So it looks like it's almost stuck on top of the stenciling. It's just in the right place. To do the same with the butterfly. Holding my card down, hovering above the area until I'm happy that that's kind of where it should be. And this is why we leave a nice big border around. You don't notice it now, notice the border, but of course it does help you with your positioning. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room. And then lastly, the sentiment. And that's going to go in here. Go nice and quiet while I'm lining things up. Just try not to get my head in there as well. Perfect. Now one thing we've also got within this stamp set, if I just bring this back in, are some lovely little splats and such. So I'm just going to use a few of these. Not too many, just a few around the with thanks. These can go directly over things. There, yeah, and a couple more there. Lovely. So it just looks like the sentiment's been splattered on there. Gorgeous. Okay, so I love that technique. That now looks as if those images are popping out with the stenciling behind. Absolutely love it. I really, really like this magazine. So we've got Simply Cards Papercraft, that's issue 243. As a subscriber, I've just received it. So hopefully if you subscribe, you receive yours too. If not, you'll be able to find it in the shops. If not now, but very, very soon. We then have the stamps. Just grabbing my stencil, it's a bit dirty, but we can pop that back in there. How does that go? In there, open. I think this opens up. Nice storage actually for the stencils. There we go. I'll clean that off in a moment. We've got our stencils with all our stamps. And I've just made that card. Now this card is in addition to lots and lots, as you can see, 145 ideas to craft throughout the magazine. I hope you enjoyed this. Join me again on Craft World in a week or two for another new magazine. And in the meantime, there's lots of other videos for you to search for. Lots of inspiration and ideas on Craft World. Take care, everybody. I'll see you again soon.